Hello, virtual friends. Today we start learning about our fourth lesson in this unit, which is paper letters. We started you off with emails because those are the ones that you are probably going to be using most often. I think it's very rare that you will ever need to send a paper letter, but it is still important that you know how to do so in case the occasion ever arises. When it comes to paper letters, there are two types. There is business, so you might be sending to a company, to your boss, or to a teacher. And then there's formal and friendly. This is what you would send to friends and family, or maybe if you had a pen pal. At first glance, it seems like both formats are very similar. Both business and formal versus friendly have 5 parts to it. There is the heading, the greeting and salutation, the body, the closing, and the signature. So you might be asking, well, okay, what makes a difference? Here are the differences. When you are writing a business or formal letter, in the heading you have both your street address and the street address of the person that you are sending it to. The greetings and salutations, much like when writing a professional email, are a bit more formal. If there is a prefix or suffix, you want to be sure to use that, and you use your full name. The body is similar to the formal email etiquette, which means mostly that you are using your best foot forward type of writing. The closing is formal, usually signed with a sincerely, and then there's your signature. However, when we're writing a friendly letter, the heading only needs your street address. The greeting can be much more informal, and you would only use your first name, since chances are the person you're writing to would already know your entire name. The body can be a little bit more casual. You can use sarcasm, you can use abbreviations, you can certainly be a bit more loose with the way you write this letter. The clothing is less formal, usually it ends with yours, love, or so on. And then you have, once again, your signature. Here are the parts of a letter if you do not know exact definitions. The heading is where this includes your address and the date, because we usually or always will date our letters so you can tell when it was posted. The greeting usually begins with Dear blank. How you write the person's name depends on how formal it is. After the person's name, you always put a comma. So if you were writing to me, you would write Dear Miss Breda, comma. The body of the letter is the information you are writing. It's organized into paragraphs, just like when we're writing a paper. Paragraphs start when a new idea is introduced. The closing, the first word is capitalized and you put a comma after the last word, such as thank you for your time. The T would be capitalized, but the your or time would not need to be. And the signature is your name. It goes under the closing. If you are writing a letter by computer, there are ways that you can add your signature in electronically. And if you are writing it freehand, you would use your best autograph signature. You're about to write a letter. There are some things that you probably need to think about. The audience, so who is it intended for? Is this going to be a formal letter or a friendly letter? The purpose. Why are you writing this? If it's formal, what is the formal reason? If it's friendly, sometimes it can be just to check in, but maybe you are writing to thank someone for a birthday gift. Maybe you are writing to learn more about the place where they live, like with a pen pal. The purpose can be obviously very diverse. And then the tone. How do you want this letter to sound? How do you sound in it? Because oftentimes we need to be very careful of the tone. The way that you may write may not come across correctly. It's hard to sometimes figure this out when we are not face to face with a person, so always just be wary of that. And lastly, this is how we analyze a letter using these 3 techniques. Just like with any other sort of literature, there might come a time when you are asked to analyze the contents of a letter. So with an audience, who is the writer trying to reach? Are there any secondary audiences? Meaning, is there anyone that might be a recipient that is not outwardly clear? So is the author reading between the lines or writing between the lines with that intention? And how do these audiences impact the writer's choices? So that would be the word choice or the way that he is describing things or any of the other sorts of writing methods that you have learned about when analyzing books. With purpose, what does the writer want the audience to think or do as a result of having read the text? What choices does the writer make in an attempt to accomplish this purpose? And then the tone. How does the writer establish and change his or her tone in an attempt to engage his or her readers? So if you were writing a letter, these would all also be things you would want to consider, especially if you were writing a letter to sway one's opinion, since in doing so, or in writing a letter of this nature, there are many different tactics you can use to make your opinion seem more valuable or something that your recipient would actually want to do.